Hello there, folks.
Hi there!
So it's another episode of Würfel Cast,
Huzzah!
and we are here to have a usual, let's say, a usual episode. Yeah,
Meaning not a
but
top 100.
uh, yeah, true that. It's been a few weeks since we did a usual episode, but it will be a little bit different because we're gonna try to catch up on what we've mostly what we've played. So what else is out there, etc. We're gonna do some usual topics now. Recent plays, which we do at the start, where we talk about one or two recent plays, will be moved to the end to be the topic of the day. 2021 state of play, and we're gonna talk about quite a few more recent plays, like in a few plays in 2 months span, I
Yep,
think. Yeah.
that's
So
right.
without further ado, let's just jump into the Board Game Geek website right here, and so we're gonna start with our first topic, which is usually second, but now it's first. Cult of the Old.
Okay.
We talk
All
about
right.
games that are at least 5 years old.
So, keeping in mind that this is also, it's sort of related to our main topic. If possible, I try and find that. An old game that I've played recently as yesterday, is the classic Castles of Burgundy.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is an older game. It's by acclaimed or renowned board game designer Stefan Feld. My friend Victor is visiting for another little while, and he had never played this, so I decided to dust it off. So this game, it still holds up really well. As a two-player game, once you kind of know the rules, it's lightning fast. It's just the perfect length. What you'll do in this game is roll dice, and then you'll use those dice to take actions. And so on your turn, you take two actions. Those actions are taking a token, placing it on your board, or activating a couple of other abilities. There aren't that many choices. You can gain these worker chits that will allow you to increase or decrease your die value so that you're a little bit less dependent upon the numbers you roll. And then there's scoring for everything. You get scoring for filling up areas. You get scoring for these good tokens that you can eventually get and sell. And then some of your different pieces will also score you points. There is a brand new version and there is an old version. The old version looked kind of ugly. The new version looks just as ugly, but it has different artwork. And it's not the best looking game. In fact, when I was playing with Victor, we were playing the new version because I got that, and I'm going to release my old version to him to take back home. He was just saying, I don't know how a game today comes out with new artwork that still looks this bad, but hey. It's not even functional. I can't even say that because some of it has weird symbols, but it works once you are familiar with the game. You can play it very quickly, and you can kind of look past the fact that it doesn't look all that great. But it's about 20 years old now. I think it had a 20th anniversary edition when it was only 19 years old or something like that. Wait, when did it come out? I think it's
11.
kind of, there was something in 11.
11.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So it is not 20 years old now. I don't know why it has a 20th anniversary edition. That's my kind of math. I'm kind of
2001,
surprised.
Stefan Feld wasn't out there. I mean, I don't think Stefan Feld
Yeah,
was doing games
but
in
I'm
2001.
pretty sure. I mean, go back to where it showed the box. I'm pretty sure it says 20th anniversary edition on it. Well,
No.
maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm making it up, but I saw that somewhere. And anyway, the new edition just has all of the expansions, the little sort of standalone expansions that were released as promos or side purchases for the last little while.
Mm-hmm.
And they're nice. I mean, some of them I would just throw in all the time. Some of them are different maps, and then there's one that's like playing as teams, which I highly doubt I will ever do, but maybe I'll give it a try with someday. But man, maybe I made up that 20th anniversary edition. If I did, I apologize.
Yeah, something else. Yeah.
But anyway, I enjoy the game still. It holds up very well. It's not gonna look. It's not gonna be the game that makes you stop and say, "Oh my goodness, what is that?" But it is definitely it's worth trying if you haven't, and if you like sort of simple dice kind of manipulation games. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I played the older one. It was okay. Um, I think it is one of the stronger felt titles. Probably, I haven't played many. I played only very few. I hated one of them completely. That game is absolutely not for me. I don't like this weird roll two dice kind of a and use them and then build up your grid of buildings. Nothing makes sense, kind of. It's logic, and there's no logic at the same time. I feel very disconnected from the game, from the theme, especially, and so on. It's just, I would say, if we look at these pictures here, comparing to the old version, 2011 version, this one is, let's say, it's more colorful. It is better looking. It is better looking. It's not good, but it's better looking indeed. At least there's not so much brown anymore, and
No.
some more green, and some more different shades of green. Forest green, plain green, and those sheep.
I
Oh,
mean,
oh my god.
those were in
Well,
both, but
or pigs,
eh,
or I don't know, the pigs. I think.
yeah. And
I don't
so
know.
I'm sorry. I have while you've been talking, I've been kind of looking. It is listed like if you go to various game shops as the 20th anniversary edition. So I wasn't making that up.
I think some other people made it up then, because it's not a
It's not 20
the
years old.
Burgundy. Uh, you can see 2011 is the first edition. Already
Yeah,
day four,
I believe you. It's just very strange.
but it's a well-regarded game. Just
It is.
yeah,
Mhm. And
yeah.
it's definitely old.
I don't know. I feel like
You
this
don't know?
doesn't really. I mean, like it's. I don't think it stands the test of time. There are so many great Euro games nowadays that are better looking, better art, better components, better everything, theme
There
wise,
are.
game arc, etc. This doesn't have any game arc for me. It just
No, but it's eh,
do stuff
I
for one person.
that's what it is,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it is very much a mechanisms first game. I do think it holds up well. I just would like to see a
Mm.
better version of it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's just forget that. Ugh, atrocious game, and that's fine. And talk about another cult of the old from my side, which I had it before in my collection. Then I sold it because I was like, "There's never going to be an expansion," and I kind of thought like, I really do need something extra, just a bit extra for it to be in my collection of my restricted 50 games policy, and it just doesn't really count up. I mean, like it's something's missing, and there's no expansion. Like, then who cares? Then I will sell the game, and then when I sell the game, they come out with the Kickstarter for the expansion, which is a small expansion, but that's just enough uh, to be a good addition. That's World Wars. So I would say it's not a recent acquisition because it's been a Kickstarter. So I got my Kickstarter copy with World War. I bought World War's base game back with the Relic Roadshow. But World Wars itself, a good game, not so highly regarded, not so well played game. But for me, I
Not
do
so
really like.
good.
Yeah, yeah. It's very much a taste oriented game. Uh, there aren't even many pictures, but because I like Storage Wars as a show, or liked. I've watched it before. I think the Canadian one was good. I like that. I just like the whole, like in this game as well. It's set in the fantasy world, but the thing is, you have those vaults. You have maybe some small rules on those vaults, but basically you're bidding on those vaults. You can peek at some items inside the vaults, and some items are great collectibles, give you points. You can sell them for gold later because you want to end with the most money at the end of the game, of course. So you want to bid on great stuff, but you don't see everything in the vault, and you have some information. Other people have some information, and there's the auction going on, and then you can get some junk, or you can get some things that will give you minus points. You have to be, it's a little bit of that luck, but it involves kind of not just luck. I roll dice and see how many actions I get. It's that kind of a luck where I anticipate to have something great, but I might get unlucky and somebody outplayed me and I get something really bad. Because there is a lot of that interaction between players. Like there's a master and there are the bidders, and the auction master is the one who knows all the cards. And through some rules, you can show some cards, and you can show good cards in that vault. So people would bid a lot of money and give you a lot of money, or you can show some junk. So people like, I'm not sure, and then the auction master just buys the vault out himself, which is which might be great or not. So, and there's a Relic Roadshow expansion, which adds a second deck, Relics deck, and the Relics are quite powerful. They give you powerful abilities. There are some nuances and some, let's say, not mistakes made, but for example, Relics do have gold value. And after a long discussion, we realized that the gold value on those relics is irrelevant for now, but might be for future expansions. Might be like, what are you doing? But like, can we sell relics or not? But relics are basically like just powerful things. You can transmute them, basically paying the items you have already got from the auctions, and you can put them in front of you to give you special abilities. The great part about that is not only it has the second deck, that also means the second highest bidder gets something. It's not just one person gets something. Now two people get something out of the round, which is great. And sometimes you want to be the second highest bidder, not the first one, because you want to get some relics, because now you have some other goals you can reach, so you can get more points at the end of the game. That's, I don't know, it's just fun. With the expansion, it just brought it back to the table, and it works much better with the expansion, for me at least. Just gives just that oomph, that extra to want to play it.
There we go. Yeah. Well, not my favorite game, but I know you enjoy it.
yeah, I think you like it, but maybe you will try it with the expansion, then you might say that, it got better.
I would say that the chance of that happening is pretty low, but we'll see.
No, if you don't like the game,
I don't like
mechanisms. Like main mechanisms, then I think the expansion will not help you out here. It just
doesn't sound like it will.
Yeah, it's not a huge expansion that changes the gameplay in any way. It just adds a bit more. Okay, so that's Cult of the Old, Old Wars. Let's get to the second topic, which is funky components. Talk about the components that are, not funky. They can be just different, just a little bit special, weird, whatever. Just components you don't see in every game.
That's true.
So, Kyle, why don't you start?
All right. So the game I will talk about is a game that I played for the first time at Gen Con and ended up taking home with me because it was light and fun. The game is called Tentacle Town.
Can I show it here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not dirty.
There's one game with like tentacles.
That's Consenticle, and it doesn't have any tentacles in it.
Okay.
No, this one is Tentacle Town. And so, I mean, the game itself has some sort of silly story of a bunch of tentacles randomly attacking the town. And the game is, it's a light game. It's probably more for a family with children than for a bunch of, adult serious gamers. But it's charming and cute. It comes with these little plastic tentacles, which are not in every game, and they're randomly popping up around the board. The version that I got at Gen Con also has this, nice gold coins, heavy wooden blocks, little plastic harpoons, and a variety of other sort of fun component upgrades that are, nice and fun. And it also has a spinner. It's a game, eventually you'll spin the spinner and it's a little harpoon and it points out and it might hit the tentacles, it might not. It's a lovingly produced game. Even though I'm not sure that all the rules are very clear, it does sort of that thing that I never like, which is it says, here are the cards. We're going to tell you what some of the symbols mean, and then you kind of figure out the rest. There's not like an index of all the cards. You kind of have to look and figure things out, which wasn't that great. But the game itself is fine, and the components are certainly interesting, the kind of thing that make you say, aha, what's that? So there we go. Tentacle Town full of funky components.
Yeah, looks cool. Different. That might be fun.
And yes, you can show it. It's not dirty.
Yeah, just to be sure. I was like, okay, you know how you like those weird games. I remember one game was... No, let's not talk about that. Anyway, my choice for a funky component is not so funky because I have not played with any tentacles recently. Yet I quite a long time ago, and in the board game camp, I have played and I even have owned the game. I think it was a review copy. It's called Arena for the Gods, which reminds me of King of Tokyo.
Yes.
It's also from Yellow. It's on.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm talking about are those cool towers that you can see, the spike towers. And as you can see, everything else, you have your usual dice, you have your screens, whatever you have, your cards, fine. Components are fine. Standees, fine. And there are those tiles which represent some, mines and like I don't know, also spiky things and blood, whatever the thing is, blood baths. I don't know what I remember what they were, but something. I think they were the healing pools or something like that, not
Okay.
blood baths. That sounded weird. Anyway, but I do like those towers. I think they added quite a lot to the game, to the game's, let's say, visual representation, kind of a theme of that. People fighting, they kind of felt like they fit into this arena, because everything else, it could have been also like 3D or the pools or whatever. But I think I understand why they are tiles. It's because you can step on them, and everything else, these are just blocking you. They are towers and they block line of sight, etc. So I just don't know. I just really like how they look in this game. It is very simple game. A small touch, a great touch. Something different. And cardboards, not a mini. Still
there you
looks
go.
good.
All right.
Okay, so that's it for funky components. And now we're going to get to our topic of the day. So we have quite a few games to talk about. That's why
We do.
we should get to that. And it's 2021 State of Play. So we're going to talk about a few games we bought recently. Let's talk about 3 games each that we have not yet got to the table, and then we'll talk about recent plays, and we'll go back and forth, talk about I think 10 titles each which we have played. Let's just briefly, and I will not do any special numbers or number 10, number 9, number 8. I think it's I don't think it's like I don't have any kind of a I cannot really say that it's a list of my top 10 recent plays. It's just 10 plays, and I don't feel like I can put them in any kind of order. It sounds weird.
Okay.
So it's just gonna be one huge list of games to talk about. But I think let's just first start with something we bought but have not
Okay.
got to the table. So it's three titles each.
Hmm.
And just give me a tiny moment. I will be able to do these things. And you can start talking already.
Oh, okay. So the first game, so this is a game that I have bought but not yet played, or that has arrived maybe from a Kickstarter that I have not yet played. The first game I want to talk about is called Iki, or Iki. I don't know. It's IKI. Victor told me that's the name of a supermarket in Lithuania, but this one is about a Japanese fishing village. I don't know much more than that. It looks like it's an interesting game. The components look nice. It's colorful. It came recommended, so I was eager to try it. I ended up picking up a copy. It does look like kind of a busy board, but hopefully it's the kind of game that once you kind of know what's going on, it's pretty easy and that there's a lot to see and discover. Again, haven't played it yet, so I don't know that I can talk about it, but it did just arrive yesterday.
Okay. Uh, one of my recent buys that I have not yet tried out is, yeah, let's go with that one. It's Dinosaur Island. You know Dinosaur Island. I bought it because it
Yes.
was on sale. There was a huge sale
Okay.
in the
Mm-hmm. I
friendly local
remember.
gaming store, and it's not like, look, I first of all, it's expensive. That's why I
Yeah.
haven't got this. It's a complex game. Seems to be. I don't really like the colors. A theme is fine. The theme is interesting,
Yeah.
but it seems like in this complicated game that is not a great looker for me. Yet I was like, I don't know, but Jurassic Park kind of a board game sounds great. So that's why just for that reduced price, let's just go with it and see. If I don't like that, I can always sell it and get my money back. So, you know,
Sure.
there's no risk to that. So I hope it's a great game, and I hope it's not too convoluted in reg- regarding of rules in regards of
Just
rules.
make sure you have a huge table.
I do have. I think I
Okay.
have a long table, not a huge one,
Yeah, that's what
but
you need. This game is a dinosaur on the table.
that's fine. Okay, so what else, Kyle? What's your second pick for?
So the second pick I have is a recent arrival from a Kickstarter. It was one that was on my anticipated games of the list of the year list. I guess that's the right words. The game is a solitaire only game called Final Girl. This was a
Can I show
game.
that?
Yeah, I mean, I hope
I
so.
think I'm
It's
just.
it's a board game. uh,
Oh,
so
wow.
this is the game that takes the sort of hostage negotiator set of rules and changes them a bit and
I
applies them
remember.
to a horror movie theme. So you are the final girl of a horror movie who is trying to gather up her resolve and some weapons and defeat a murderer who is running through and rampaging. As the version that comes from the Kickstarter, at least, has several different combinations. You've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 different locations you can be set in, 4 or 5 different killers you can fight against, and then, I don't know, a huge pile of final girls that you can use, each one with a special ability, some slight different changes to how she works. Again, I haven't played it mostly because it's a solitaire game, and while I have people visiting me, that's not the right game to play. But I am really excited to try it once it finally gets here. I have enjoyed Hostage Negotiator for a long time. I think this one might be slightly more refined. Might be a more, a larger experience than Hostage Negotiator was, although I really enjoy that game too. Anyway, looking forward to trying this one soon. Final Girl.
Okay. Yep. So my second pick is a bigger game. The same thing. It was on sale. It was a good price for that game to be bought by me because it's an expensive game as well, and that's Mezzo. Look,
Okay.
I'm not into even more recently so. I'm not into kind of dudes on the map games, miniature games, etc. I do like the theme.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the theme. I do like just how the monsters look. I don't know how Euro-y it is, or
Fairly so. That's
it's Euro-y. Okay, so it's a good
what
sign.
I
It's a
remember.
good
It's
sign.
been a while, but I remember it not being. I remember thinking it looked like it was going to be a new Blood Rage, and actually, it was a lot more Euro-y than that.
That sounds good. That sounds good. So I'm
But
looking
it's been
forward
a
to that.
while. I haven't. I mean, it's been a couple of years since I played it, and I don't remember it very well.
I haven't really looked
But
into that much. It just was a good price. It was like, okay, another one like Dance Island. Little to no risk for me. I can just, if I don't like it, I can just sell it. I already have a person who said, "Oh, you got this with really good price." I'm like, if you don't like it, just sell it to me. I'm like, okay, okay, I have a
there you
buyer,
go.
future buyer already lined up for this game. But I hope I
Good.
like this game because
I hope so too.
I just wanted to try it out. Nobody has it really. Nobody bought it here.
Yeah, I do remember that it's better with more players. That's the one thing that I played it several times back when it came out. Um,
It's 2 to 4. Okay, so I think three
yeah,
to
but it
four
was
is
it's
fine.
well, there was also a solo set of rules, and that wasn't very much
What?
fun at all. Um,
Oh, I remember why I bought it. Colossal Games is fine. I like their stuff, but I mean, like what they try to do. But John Cloudus, that now I remember why I was interested in the game. John Cloudus, I played his small stuff a long time ago. He had
good.
like really small Kickstarters. Just I do this Kickstarter once for this game, and then you can never get it again. He had this two-player games, sometimes higher player count, but really
Yeah.
small production, like very indie and really smart guy. So,
Okay.
what's your third pick for recent buys?
All right. So this one, I tend to have a soft spot for most of Capstone Games productions, and so I end up usually ordering more than I probably should. Recently, I got and played a game called Renature by Kramer and Kiesling, which was kind of a dud. But they have a new game out called Savannah Park, and I'm giving them another try. Uh, so it looks like it's about, from what I can tell, I started reading the rules and then fell asleep because it was late at night.
Okay.
It looks like you place a token, you take a token off, and then you're going to move it to somewhere else and then flip it over. And then the game will end when all of the tokens are flipped over, and then you'll score them in a bunch of different ways based upon, groups of animals and then proximity to water and a variety of different things. It looks like sort of an Azul style of a game, but not that game certainly, but kind of the same feel of sort of simple rules with a little bit of complexity in how the scoring works. I, again, haven't played it. I hope it's great. I hope it is simple and yet a lot of fun. And I look forward to trying it soon.
Okay. That's yeah, looks weird, but fine. But that's fine. Okay, my third buy, and I haven't tried yet, and the one I'm most excited about is Last Aurora, which wasn't that easy to get, but I found it on the Finnish website. I was very lucky because, wow, they like the with the Baltic states and with the Finland, there is a great kind of a not a courier type thing, but like a post, but you put it in the like a container, and then it's shipped to you, and put in the container. You go and put in the code,
Yeah.
and you get it from the container.
Mm-hmm.
So really fast, 1 2 days, and then you get it. Anyway, Last Aurora, I'm very looking forward to play it. Very much looking forward to that because it seems to have this. First of all, the theme. I do like post-apocalyptic themes, winter post-apocalyptic, great, and it's resource management. You're moving towards the ship. The whole story about it is great, and maybe I don't know if I can find it here, but you can basically, yeah, you can uh you have the cards and you can buy more cards. into your kind of a deck building. It seems so. I don't know. I haven't played it yet. So, and you can also buy the like you have your truck. You can replace the engine. You can buy more of the other cars, which are like the uh, whatever they are, the extensions to the truck, which
Mm-hmm.
hold different resources and things, and you can get damaged and etc. You have to manage all of that, and you can even put the I don't know if it's. Oh yeah, you can see here. You can buy weapons. You can put cards on top of the other
Okay.
cards, and it just looks so cool. I don't know. It just the whole thing about this one just looks great. Just
Hmm.
my style of game. Mechanically, I think it's a tableau building kind of a, which is kind of visually uh,
Mm-hmm.
building as well, and resource management, card building, card building, but deck building. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it
Just
looks interesting. I know nothing about it. I've never even heard of it, but and the theme is I'm kind of out on the theme, but the game looks interesting, and I do like the thought of putting the weapons on the cars.
Yeah, I've heard about it from the Dice Tower. I saw the Secrecy a review a long time ago, I think, and I saw it somewhere else. So I put it on the
Hmm.
wish list because of the theme, just the theme. And then a
Okay.
year later, now I was like, okay, I remember I had something on my wish list. Let's take a look at that. And then they played it somewhere. I think they played it recently on some Let's Play something video
Okay.
live play, and I was like, okay, it looks cool. Like, yeah, I really want to put those weapons on the on the truck. That's all I want to do in
That's
this game.
honestly why I'm interested. Is that seems like the most interesting part. But anyway,
Building up your truck,
we'll
which
see.
I
Hmm.
love it. Anyway, that's my third game I bought but have not tried yet. But maybe when we do this video again, I'll be able to talk about it specifically of how great
Okay.
or how bad it is. I don't know. We'll see.
Hopefully, how great it is.
Yes. So let's get to the second part of that, the games we have actually played. And there are games that I also recently bought and played. So it's a
Sure, that's how it works.
combination, but basically, yeah, the games we played. And Kyle, why don't you start? We're gonna do 10 each briefly,
Yep.
talk about how they work, maybe just a little bit, an opinion. And I think we'll
Sure.
have all the different games. I don't think we have any kind of a crossover here anyway.
Oh, we'll
So
see. I suspect we won't, but well, I guess we'll see. Yeah, I don't think you've played any of these, but let's try and see.
yeah.
All right. So, and my ranking is a light ranking. Like I made a list of maybe 20 or 30 games that I had played recently, and then picked the ones that I kind of thought would be the most interesting to talk about. I don't know that other than the number one. Well, the top five are definitely games I really liked, though, and the other ones,
So,
well, we'll see.
but you made kind of a ranking here because I
Yeah, there
haven't.
is a ranking, but it's not a hard ranking, right? I mean, I won't say that that I liked number 9 20 times more than number 10, but anyway, I did put them in an order, but it's an order that's a soft ranking. So
Okay.
my number 10, the first game I will talk about, is a game that I kind of had a funny story with it, but the game is called So Clover. So,
Okay.
So Clover is kind of a groan-worthy title to the game, and actually remember I had friends over, and I said, "Let's play this," and they looked at the title and said, not sure that we want to do that." But eventually, I got them to play it another time, and they really enjoyed it. And everybody I played with has really enjoyed this. This game is almost not a game. I'll just say that it's more of a a shared party experience. It's kind of like Just One. In fact, if you look at the box, it's the same publisher and it looks a lot like Just One. But in this game, you got this weird clover thing, and you might show it. It's this sort of a
Yeah, I'm doing some other
clover.
thing at the
Yeah,
moment.
it's a clover board, and you're going to get 4 cards that are kind of randomly assigned there, and each card fits on this little peg, and it has a word on it. And then your task, everyone does this task at the same time, is to look at your board, and on each leaf of the clover, you'll see there are 2 words. You have to write a word that connects them, and you're going to do that on each of the 4 leaves. Then you will take all of the cards off, add another one to the mix, and then when everybody's ready, you're going to put them out there, and everyone else is going to try and figure out which of the so there's now 5 cards, so one is a dud, or which of the 5 that are which of the cards they're going to try and place them in the same order that you had them. And it sounds like it might be daunting, but it actually is very interesting, as you've got enough clues there that you can oftentimes get them all, sometimes not all, and sometimes that sort of one that gets thrown in really can throw people off. But as you see, okay, I have the word bread, and I see on the card there's a word baker, and I see over here where I've written the word water, and I see the word there is wet, and so I can say, aha, that one must fit there. And everyone's kind of working together. There's not really a way to win. You just win by playing, and you try and have as many points as possible. And if you get them wrong, then there's some rules for a second chance and things like that. But it's a lot of fun. It's an activity that everybody's really all involved in, right? Because everyone's doing their writing at the same time, and then everyone's kind of working together to figure out where the words are. And it can feel really satisfying if you put a clever clue that people get, or if you are able to figure out what somebody was thinking with this arrangement of cards. Not a lot of rules, but a lot of fun, and a game that I have played lots of times since it came out, just because it's so light and engaging and really works with any size group or any number of, or just about any player.
Okay. Yeah. No, nothing about this game.
Oh, you might enjoy it. Although, it does require some knowledge of English, which you have, but I recognize you live in a place where not everybody might be at the same level.
Yeah, might be a little bit difficult. All right, so my number 10, though, that's the order, or any of the numbers don't really matter.
Yeah.
But let's just for the count, but for the sake of the counts, so we have 10 each, and people have a better count of the games we talk about here. So I got to play the last game of Clank Legacy. Wait. The last game, which might not be the last, and so that's I think we'll come back for one more round in this game. But yeah, I just I talked about the Clank a ton. You can customize it basically. You're going through you're going through quite a few games, having 2 different boards, 2 sides of the board, and then you are just putting the stickers on, reading some paragraphs,
so many stickers,
writing, so many. Like half of a game is just adding new stuff, ripping stuff off, and putting stickers on. Half of the game is just all about this legacy element that you are forever and ever changing the board state, the card state. You can write on the cards, you can put the stickers on the cards themselves, customizing them in any way you want. So kind of in any way, but I mean, so
in some ways
it's just a great experience, and we have to come back with my friend for one more round. That's
all right.
There's nothing else to say. A great deck builder.
Well, it's a fun one.
Yeah. If you have it, go for it. All right, let's get to number 9.
Okay, my number 9 is a game I was really excited for when I heard it was coming out. So I don't play a lot of video games, but there are a few video games that I really enjoy. And one of them is a game series, or a game called Cuphead. And this is sort of a fairly challenging boss battle game with this adorable older style cartoon artwork that I'm just generally a sucker for. So the game that came out is Cuphead, the Fast Rolling Dice Game. And this is a cooperative game where it's a cooperative, very short timed game where you're trying to fight a boss. So, and defeat the boss. It takes 8 of the bosses from Cuphead. There's a lot of them, so there's some that are left out, I guess, for the expansion. But what you have, and you see sort of right there, in the last picture, in the first picture you had, there's this board in the middle, and it's up above that one. Anyway, yeah, they're in the middle. There's that board where those potatoes are, and on each card there's a die symbol. And so you're going to put out the 3 cards, or sometimes 4, and then you're going to set a timer, And we played it, Victor and I played it on easy mode, which was a 20-second timer. Difficult or is a 10-second timer, but you're going to say go. Everyone's going to roll your dice, and then you have to place them on your board, and you have to match those symbols. And matching those symbols will allow you to stay alive. Then you can also, there's a shoot symbol, and so in a situation where the card has only one symbol on it, if you put the symbol that's needed and a shoot symbol, you're going to do damage. And if you do enough damage, you'll move the boss on to the next phase. And then there'll be some new cards, sometimes some new rules, and you'll keep going until you have completely defeated the boss or until one of you has died. And at that point, you can reset the game and play again or move on to the next boss. It's very light on rules. There's just not a lot there. It's just a very fast rolling dice game. But it does have sort of the nice Cuphead theme that is well integrated. If you enjoy the series, you'll probably enjoy the game. If you don't know about the series, I mean, Victor had never played the game before, because it's not a series, it's just one game. But he enjoyed it a lot anyway, because it was fast and light and kind of fun. So it's well created. I know you like that Hogwarts deck building game. This is the same publisher, and they really have done a good job at kind of putting enough touches in there that fans of the IP will really enjoy it. I mean, by itself, it's just sort of a roll and place game, and you're trying to do things fast. But the artwork's there, and the components are pretty good quality, and a lot of thought was put into this, and so I've really enjoyed it. We played it through from start to finish, and just had a great time with it.
Okay, sounds interesting. Something I want to try.
Mhm.
So it's just I don't know. I like the Cuphead. I I have it, or I think I had it on my Xbox,
The
maybe
video
something
game,
like
you
that.
mean?
Video game, yeah, yeah, and
Mm.
or maybe I still have it somewhere else. I don't remember. Anyway, it's hard. It's like I don't have this kind of a patience to go through that video game. I don't know what else to say about that. But this one,
No, I definitely did.
oh, I'm just bad at such games. I need some open world where I can put some easy mode on and just swing my sword in that kind of a RPG type game. And these
Okay.
games are all about just reflex and
Jumping and dodging and learning patterns is
yeah,
what it is.
just
So,
yeah, just kind of an old style thing, which
yeah,
I'm not good
that's
at.
what it is. Yeah, it's not for everybody, but I mean, I fell hard for the game.
Hmm.
And, it's a good one to play if you've got a long flight and nothing else to do. So, that's what often happens.
Okay, so my number nine is a game that's had its newer edition come out. I think I don't know last year, this year. I don't know. Galaxy Trucker.
Okay.
So it was I think out this year. Okay,
It was this
so
year. Hmm?
they said they had a different artwork here. Fine. I don't
Slightly
feel like
different.
I don't think it's a great looker, but kind of a fit. I think maybe just a tiny bit confusing artwork, just too much going on because you have to get used to some components looking one or other particular way in order to kind of for it to click in your brain because they are graphical. But this game is all about build your ship and then just look at your ship getting destroyed or anything like that,
Pretty much.
and and I remember playing it a very long time ago. I think we didn't finish. I think we played like a just one round or one game, not a full one, just one
Oh,
phase. I think you can play one phase now as well. Just
you can.
so I think something like that. And I wasn't enamored by that game, and I can see people totally not liking the game. It's hit or miss. It's not something in between.
No.
It's not gonna please everyone like kind of a Wingspan, which also has the edge. I mean, like also has
Right.
haters and lovers, but this one is more of a hater love kind of a thing, more in the corners. And yeah, you are building your ship, trying to get enough shields, engines, the guns, and it has, in my opinion, a bit too many small rules about how the shields or the cannons work and how they are half a damage. This is the whole damage. I think for such a game, such a light game, and then you turn over the cards and see how your ship or your crew is destroyed, just a tiny bit too much game here.
Sure.
I liked, though I don't think I'm gonna ever play it again. I like Goblins Incorporated more, which has the same kind of a spirit here. I liked it more. I probably because of the theme and the robots, and probably more kind of a just basic and streamlined way of destroying each other. Here we are not building ships and then let's fly each other's ships and then destroy each other. Kind of that would have felt maybe better. But it
Mm.
just I turn over the card and the game says half of my crew is gone. It's not satisfying. I just didn't like the game at all.
Well, and that's sort of, I mean, those are the opinions about the game, right? People either really love it or really hate it. I'm on the really love it camp because I've played this game so many times and I've really delved into it, and I've got, all of these expansions, and those make it more complicated. But I don't know. I think there's a lot to love here, but that's definitely a taste thing with this game.
I feel like if I would combine Goblins Incorporated with Galaxy Trucker, yeah, this it would have been something in between. Would be much more.
Mm,
I think it would be a better game for a
yeah.
wider crowd.
Well,
It
I
just
hate Goblins Incorporated, but I really loved Galaxy Trucker. So that's,
that was
maybe
also
there's
hate
that.
or
I mean,
love. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It just both games have their huge flaws and also something great. And if somebody would take only the great stuff from both of them and combine it into that Frankenstein of a new board game, that would be great. But so far,
All right.
Galaxy Trucker is a no go. Let's
All
get to
right.
number 8.
So number 8 is a small roll and write game. It recently arrived. It is, I think it would debut at Essen or somewhere around that time. The game is called Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a really interesting one, right? I mean, there's a million roll and write games, and a lot of them feel the same. This one somehow manages to have its own voice, I guess. And so what you do is you've got this board, and the board is a river that kind of goes down to the end and then turns around and comes back. And then it's sort of simultaneously played. So you're going to roll all these dice, and there's a green die that is a bonus that people can choose to take or not. And then there's 5 other colored dice, and you'll find the median number, and that the median number and values below it go below this board, this little captain like token, and then the rest go above it. There you see it. And then on your turn, you're going to select a die. If you select one from the top, though, you have to pay. You have a limited number of flame markers, and you have to cross them out based on the value of the die. And also, you can take that green die, which gives you flames as well. So you're going to be better off to take the lower numbers usually, but the bigger numbers are obviously better. And then after everyone's done that, you're going to take your die, and it's going to match a particular track, which is a boat on this board, and you're going to cross off boxes on that. When you fill a row, it gives you a ticket, and then you're going to go on an exploration. So based upon where the boat goes, the boat is going to move down this track based upon the median number. That's how many spots it moves. And then there are these spots on the board that have different colors with a value. So there might be a yellow with a 9. And then if you decided to go to that spot, you can go there, and you're going to see how many tickets you have on the yellow boat, multiply that by a 9, and that's your score for that round. And then you can do each of the colors 3 times, but they have to be higher in value each time. So, you've got to sort of decide whether you're going to focus on one color deeply and get a lot of points out of it, or whether you're going to try and spread evenly across the different boats. There's some reasons why, there's this other kind of boring bonus at the bottom that might encourage you to do that, because it can be a 30-point swing, depending on who gets this captain track, which is kind of the most boring part of the game. But anyway, that's what it is. You're building up your boats, you're strengthening them, and then going on these expeditions. You can only go within a certain distance of the boat, so there's that. You have a few ways to enhance that if you need to. And the game is really fast because this boat is going to move along the track, and it's going to move really quickly sometimes. And so the game can end kind of abruptly. You can see it coming, right? The boat can't move more than 6 spaces, and that would be a rare occurrence because you'd have to have rolled 5 6s. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. It's very fast. It's the rules are very light, and the artwork is colorful and fun, although there's not a ton of it. But it looks good. It doesn't get in the way. It's very clear what everything means, and it works with any number of players. I'm assuming I haven't played it with, I think, 6 yet, but it's really fast, really fun, and one of the better entries in sort of this large field of roll and write style games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I saw this one. I was thinking about buying this one just because, maybe I should try another roll and write. And then I was like, I don't know.
Sure.
It's maybe I'm tired
There are
of
a lot
them.
of them.
There are a lot of them. And I
Yeah.
sometimes I just want to take something out, something I'm really familiar with such roll and writes. They're trying to do more within less, less components. But I
Hmm.
just I've tried quite a few, and I have my dice stars, which is my only roll and write right now. I think it is. Okay, I have one more, but that was a preview copy I got just from to do a review.
Hmm.
But the dice stars is just my pick because it's so simple, it's so easy. Just get it out and play it, and I don't know, nothing could conquer that. No,
Well,
that feeling. Nothing could replace dice stars for me. But it's just because I kind of feel if I want a more complicated roll and write, then I'll just play a board game instead.
fair enough. Well, I still think I was impressed by this one. I think it's a really good
Sounds
one.
cool.
And for people like me who sometimes travel a bit, this is the kind of, it's the right size to take with me, and a really, a fun experience that can be had without a whole lot of space being needed. So there's also
Does a
that.
solo, yeah. That's where roll and writes work quite well. So as solo games, which I don't play, so usually. Anyway, let's get to my number 8 or eight, third game I'm going to talk about. Also a smaller game. Oops. Also a smaller game, and the one that I played with you, and I bought thanks to you, and thanks to you, I'll get even more of that.
Oh, I wonder what this
It's
game
of
could
course
be.
it's silver, and I do have just one of them, the latest edition of silver, which is called Silver Dagger,
Hmm.
and I have it just because it was the only one I could get here. It's not so well. I mean, like you cannot get it here in Europe. I don't know why. Maybe
Oh,
because of busier games. Or maybe you can in some shops. You have to research
yeah,
for that. It's not everywhere. It's
and it might be
some
between
way.
printings.
Might be as well. Yeah. Anyway, this one is a card game. You put few cards in front of you, like just like that, and then you don't know what your cards are, but you can pick a few at the beginning of the game. Everybody has their own kind of village of cards, 5 cards, and you're trying to get as low scoring cards as possible in your
Yep.
tableau of cards. You have to. It's like a memory game. You have to memorize what cards you have underneath, and also how to get rid of them. Each card has an ability. It's an easy play. You draw a card from the center, and then you think about playing that card if it has that playing ability, and you do the special action, or you can swap the card that you just uh, drew with the card from your village, and you manipulate other villages as well. But this take that moment in this game doesn't bother me at all. It's like
Nah.
we're all in the same situation. I'm just trying to get the lowest score possible and call for a vote and or whatever the call.
Yeah,
It's
that's
called
what
the
it's called.
call. Yeah, the call. And it doesn't feel like I'm ruining someone's. Yeah, I'm kind of ruining it. It might be like when I add
You are.
when I add a number 11 in your village. That's bad, but it doesn't feel Because it's so light, it's so easy. It's Dagger. I think is I played the original, and then a long time ago with you in the airport on a luggage, and then I
Yep.
played Dagger, which is more complicated not in a sense of rules themselves, but in a sense of special abilities of cards,
Yes.
especially the zombie one. But once I got through a few games, it's now it's easy. Now I get
Yeah.
it, and I don't need to think about it that much. One thing is that I do really like some of the abilities in Dagger. Some of them are okay, just boring. But let's say this zombie thing, I think it's cool. I like that a lot.
Okay.
I like zombie a lot. It's just zombie blocks other cards. If you have a zombie, then you it's really hard to get rid of the zombies. And
Yes, it
at some
is.
point, zombie is not a huge card. It's number 4. If you get number 11, it's worse. Anyway,
Sure.
try this game out if you get a
Yeah,
chance. Not you. I mean the people who watch
I
this,
will.
because for such a simple game, it has a ton of laugh, and
It does.
still feels like a whole game, and not just it's hard to describe it. It's
It
not a
is.
party game. It's not a Euro game. It's just a simple card game, but it feels very satisfying as a normal board game
Yep, it
in a
does.
sense.
Yeah, I really like Silver. I like all four of them. I mix them up and play them. The zombies are kind of the biggest issue. They're not. I mean, I agree that they are fun, but their interaction with some cards can be a little bit weird and kind of it can cause some interactions if you mix the sets. In just this set, they're fine. But once you start getting cards that can discard things, it can lead to some unexpected results, which is part of the fun, but
Yeah,
definitely not the one to teach people with, which is if you mix them all together, it can be a hard teach.
yeah. But thanks to Kyle, I will be able to get the other 3 sets. And as Kyle said, you can store all of the games, all of the 4 sets in one box. So, and this box is not big.
You can. I would do it in two though. It's a
In
pretty
2?
tight fit if you're
Hmm.
going to put it in one box.
Especially if sleeved. Yeah.
Well, even if not sleeved, it's a pretty tight fit to have
Okay.
more than
2
two in a
boxes is
box.
also fine. 2 boxes is
They're not
still
big
less.
boxes.
Yeah, it's still less than one normal box. So,
Right.
anyway, let's get to number 7.
All right. My number 7 is a new game. So it's not a new game. It's an expansion for an old game, or a standalone expansion for an old game. It's a game I really enjoy. It's also sort of in that roll and write family, but no rolling. The game is Cartographers, and I'm specifically talking here about Cartographers Heroes. I believe
Hmm.
that's what it's called, which is the
Yeah.
new version that just came out.
Ooh, nice.
So it's in Cartographers. What you're doing is you'll flip a card over, and it has a land, sort of a pattern that you need to draw on a
Ooh,
map. And
wow.
then there's 4. Oh, somebody really spent. That is not what my Cartographers Heroes looks like.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah. Cool. Look at that. That's amazing.
somebody did a great job on that. That somebody was not somebody I
Look,
played with.
this is more
That
me.
like
Okay. Yeah.
that's more, well, and mine aren't even colored, but um, anyway, so you're drawing these shapes on, and there's different shapes, and you're trying to make different groupings based upon 4 scoring cards that are going to come up. So the new thing about in Heroes is there's also hero cards that jump into the deck, and there are no relics in, or those ruins, the temples or whatever they are in new Cartographers. If you mix them together, they are. But the heroes, what they're going to do is it's a 1 by 1 square, but it has an attack pattern, so it'll usually put an attack in a few spaces based upon the card. And then if a
Mhm.
monster is in that space, that monster dies, at least the piece of that monster does. Or if it enters in there, then parts of it end up dead. And then monsters are these ambush cards. Remember, when you draw one out, you're going to pass your sheet to someone else who will draw that. So the heroes are fine. I could take or leave them. They're kind of just okay. What I love though is the new monsters, because Unlike in base cartographer, it was just a space that gave you negative abilities. In this one, each of the different monsters has a special ability that it's going to do.
Mm,
So, for example,
nice.
the zombie starts out as a 1 by 1 square, but in each scoring round, you're going to put a new zombie in each space
Nice.
next to the zombie. So it's
Cool.
going to kind of spread out unless you sort of work really quickly and neutralize it. And I think that that adds just a little bit more fun to the game. The
Yeah.
cards and the patterns are a little different. New scoring opportunities. That's all fine. It also came with 3 new map boards that are kind of different. I've only played with one of them, which instead of sort of this big square, it was 5, I think, different islands. And you could only go on islands that were connected, but you could spend your coin to connect a new island. And the islands were small, little tight islands, and there wasn't enough room on them. So occasionally you had to move out, which I found to be an interesting twist on the puzzle. Anyway, if you don't like cartographers, this new one isn't going to change your mind. It's slightly more complicated, but not really. But if you like cartographers, this is going to be a welcome addition, and you can just combine them and play them together. So I really enjoy Cartographers Heroes.
Sounds cool. I feel like I've lied earlier in the video because I said dice stars is my only roll and write, which is not a lie because this cartography is not roll and write, but I
Because you don't
do.
roll.
No, but I do put them in the same bucket. I mean, like
Sure.
it's just instead of cards, instead of dice, you have cards, etc. I mean, like this one, but though cartographers is quite different from a more traditional way of playing roll and write. Yeah,
Sure.
you are the cards you flip are polyominoes. It's like a Tetris meets roll and write, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I do own cartographers. I now remember that I've lied. So I have one more game, and that's why I don't feel like playing any other ones because just a very simple one, I just pull out dice stars, and then if I want something a little bit more complex, I pull out cartographers. And I was looking forward to heroes, but yeah, I was like looking for that, and it wasn't out. Something like that.
Yeah, it's just come out now.
Oh, then it was delayed quite a lot because I've heard about this a long time ago already. But I'm very much looking forward to getting Cartographer's Heroes. It's in my wish list, and wink wink, maybe my secret Santa is looking
Oh,
is
okay.
watching this video and wink wink. Anyway, would be really nice to get this game.
Okay.
Anyway, let's get to. Is it my number 7? It is.
It is your number 7.
My number 7 is the game we already talked about, so I will not stop on that for too long. I'm just going to show you. So the game I played is World Wars.
Oh,
But
again.
but I'm just going to show you the Relic Roadshow. It's these just a tiny bit. So this is the new deck, new bolt cards, and you can see you can have you have those symbols underneath. That's how many cards you can draw from the deck of relics, and then choose just one for yourself. And then they go into your item pile, and you have to transmute them by paying some other items, and then you can kind of activate them, and then they will score you points. So
Okay.
it's just nice. It's a small, nice addition. It was a tiny tuck box like that, and I just threw it away and put my cards in the base game box because tuck boxes, no. Yeah, and
I
I
agree.
had fun. I had fun. So that's World Wars Relic Roadshow, the expansion I
Great.
played.
All right.
That was fast. Anyway, number 6.
It was. So my number 6 is a cooperative game that it came out at Gen Con. I think it came out a year or two ago, and it's now kind of been reprinted. It was a small printing earlier on. It is a cooperative game called The Loop. Now,
Mm-hmm.
not to be confused with Loop Inc. or any of those other games
No,
that use
I know
this,
the
but
Loop, yeah.
this is a weird cooperative game. It's unusual. So what you have is this board with I think 7 locations on it, and you've got this tower in the middle that's going to face a location and drop some bad cubes into it. If the location overruns with bad cubes, which is more than 3, it's kind of destroyed. And if too many locations get destroyed, that's how you lose the game. But what you're going to be doing is sort of manipulating this. Look, it doesn't feel like a time travel game, but you've got cards that you're going to be playing. It's kind of a deck building game. At least that portion of it is. And you're going to play cards, and the cards will let you do different things like move around or pick up these green cubes, which are good, or destroy these bad things. Well, you can't really destroy them, but you can kind of push them around. And when they go into certain locations, they get destroyed. And then kind of the hook of the game is that each of your cards has a symbol in the corner, and if you play them, you can use them, and then if you can pay energy and flip them back, and then the more times you can do that as many times as you like, but each time you do it, it's going to be more expensive. But kind of if you flip cards of just one symbol, you can flip as many of those cards back up as you like. So you can kind of, if you get the right cards in the right combination, you can have a fairly big turn. The way you're going to win the game is each of these areas has a secret mission on it, which is usually, do this kind of a thing. Maybe pick up cubes a certain number of times from different areas, or destroy red cubes in certain areas. Sort of some piece of the gameplay that you're going to be doing. And when you do enough of those missions, you win. Also, what's interesting about this is there are four different modules that you can play with, ways to play that are going to change the puzzle up in a different way. The second one is my favorite, where there are these super minions out there, and they are difficult to, they're just, when they destroy, they explode and put a whole bunch of bad stuff on the board, but also they give a permanent energy cube, so that makes that spot easier to activate. And I think that is my favorite of the modules to play with. I really like the game. It's a cooperative game, but it's really kind of a mind-bending one because it's very procedural. You have to figure out how you're going to do things, what order you're going to do things in, where you're going to be. It's not super easy to move around, but it's a lot of fun to play. It works well solo. It works well with 2. I've only played at those 2 counts, but I would play it with more. And hey, dropping cubes in that tower is strangely satisfying as well. So That's my number 6, The Loop.
Sounds interesting. I'm not sure I need it for myself.
Yeah, I don't think you do, but you should
something to try. Yeah, something to try, definitely. All right, so my number 6 is another game that I've talked about a ton over recent years because I do love the game. And look, there are very good friends of mine that I've known for more than 10 years, 12.
Okay.
One of them I've known for a very long time, but we became friends like, let's say, 12 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
And they are both they like economy in games. They're not board gamers. They don't play games really, and I see them twice a year at most. We now have this kind of a tradition at, like, let's gather, let's visit somebody's home. Like this time we are at that person's home, another time we visit my home, and the third time we visit the third person's home. Just roam around, and cook together and maybe play a game as well. So trying to start this tradition here, and we already started with that. And I realized that one of my friends never played Stockpile, and he's into economy in games. He liked that kind of a thing. He very much enjoyed the game. Another of my friends played the game a very long time ago. So, but he was happy to play it again. So, as I say, they play games maybe only with me. Let's say they don't play board games. It's just twice a year they might play a board game. So that's it. So for them, this is something special. So I wanted to pull out something I'm sure they're gonna love. I'm sure we're gonna have a great time, and it was. It's such a blast. I love this game, and they love this game. It's a stock market game in a very simple way. You create the piles of cards. Some of them are stock, some of them are some taxes, some minus things. You can, some of them are something else. You can have the expansions like commodities. You can have those dice, forecast dice. So you know, so there are 6 companies. Some prices will go up, some prices will go down, some will go bankrupt. So you can lose the what are they called, the stocks for those companies.
Hmm.
You're trying to bid wisely so you can get good stocks cheap and then sell them at a high price. That's it. But it's
Yes.
so much fun because the partial information in games is amazing. It feels like an exploration. Some cards are face down. You don't know what it is. And I always go, I can lose the game just because I love getting the cards that are face down, that I don't know what they are. And sometimes I get some garbage. And especially this partial information you have one company in front of you, and you know that that particular company will decrease in price, and that's 1/6 of the information, and everybody has that part, some kind of information in front of them.
Hmm.
So you're trying to understand, manipulate, and risk. That's it. You're risking sometimes, and sometimes you're like, yes, like that was the perfect round. And sometimes, oh my god, all my stocks are gone. I
Uh-huh.
risked too much, you know. Just love the situations this game creates. Stockpile, always in my heart.
It's a fun game. I really
and
enjoy
now,
it.
and now this is the game they want to play when we get together. This
Great.
might be now the new favorite.
Well, that means you'll get to play it more.
Yeah, and I haven't played in a very while because I've played it quite much.
Mhm.
So anyway, let's get to your number 5.
All right. My number 5 was a Gen Con game. I did not play it at Gen Con, but I ordered it because it looked interesting, and I liked the theme. I was hoping to have it before Halloween, and I did. So the game is called The Hunger,
Mm-hmm.
and The Hunger is kind of it's a sort of an almost crossover because it's a lot like Clink. It's from the
Hmm.
same publisher, different designer though. And what this is you're a vampire and you're going to be
Hmm.
running out into the world trying to hunt humans and then
Nice.
make it back before sunrise. So what but it's a weird deck builder because you're only ever going to have 3 cards in your hand as your sort of base draw. So it's a very small tight deck builder. The cards you start with have numbers on them and they're pretty good, right? You can move out and move pretty far. But then you're going to hunt, which means buy a card, and the cards are on this board with 2, and 1, 3 columns. And each round you're going to put cards into the 3 column and you'll move all the other cards over. But they're going to sort of pool up in the 1 column. And so if you decide to buy from the 1 column, you're going to get a whole bunch of cards. Now, most of the cards are humans, and the humans have a point value, and that's going to get you points that you're immediately going to score. But usually they're worth 0 of this sort of currency, which is called speed, which is the stuff you use to move and buy. And so as you buy lots of humans, you're sort of thematically, you're becoming kind of fat as you eat too much. And then when these humans come up, they're going to really clog your deck. And you're going to find that you have turns when if you were a little too greedy, you might have turns where you can't do very much just because you have nothing. Um, so there are ways to kind of cull a little bit, but sort of having this bloated deck is part of the game. And again, and then the farther away from the castle you are when you hunt, the more points the cards are going to be worth. They're going to be worth a bonus 1 or 2 points, depending on where you are. But you have only 15 rounds, and by the end of the 15th round, you have to make it back to the castle. Now, there's 2 ways to play. There's the wimpy mode, where you can make it anywhere back into the mountains and just sort of suffer a point penalty. Or you can play the way real vampires want to play and have to make it
Mm-hmm.
basically back to one of the last 3 spaces of that track. And that's hard to do. It takes some real planning. There's a lot of temptation to kind of go to the way to the end of the track. There's a lot of good things there. There's some bonus cards. There's these roses that give you an ongoing bonus as well and are worth a lot. But if you go that far, you might not be able to do too much deck building because you're going to need to make sure you can make it back. And so there's a lot of different ways to play. Like, you can kind of go out a little ways and do a lot of hunting and then kind of slowly lumber back in the last few rounds. or you can sort of do a sprint to the end and a sprint back and hope that the few things you were able to pick up along the way are enough to get you there. I really enjoy it. It's not hard. It's not long. I mean, if I were going to compare it with Clank, I think I like Clank slightly better, just because it kind of has a variable end game, whereas this one is very prescribed. But there's also sort of some pressure, right? It's a little harder to get out than it is in Clank, and maybe that's because at the beginning when you have to do so. So it's all on you if you can't make it. I also like, some of the thematic touches. Some of the humans are spicy, and when you eat them, when they kind of come up in your deck, you have to move to a well. And even if you don't want to, or there are drunk ones. And I guess when you eat them, you get kind of drunk too, and you have to move in the wrong direction. So, there's some sort of thematic touches there. There's some missions that you're trying to fulfill, different goals, collect different types of humans, have the most of this, the most of that, don't have any of something. And those are ways to score points as well. If you don't make it back, you don't score any points, though, which is very sad and has happened in every game I have played, because it's sort of difficult to know the timing. But, that's kind of part of the fun. The game's pretty fast. It's 15 rounds, short turns usually. I really like The Hunger.
Okay, fine. Yeah, looks cool. Sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should try this one. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if you need this and Clank, and if you like Clank, you'll probably like. I think I like Clank slightly better, but this one's fun too. So
just the
know.
theme. I mean, like the theme sounds
the
cool.
theme is interesting.
Yeah. All right. So my number 5 is. So look, it's just one game that I played in the recent months, and the sentence is truth and a lie at the same time, because the game is called Just One, but I haven't played just one game of Just One. I played and some other game. Anyway,
why are you
just
lying?
one, just one game, just one game,
just one
just
lie.
one, just one lie.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Just One is a party game mixing this kind of code names with some other 1,000 different variations of word games. It reminds me of just code names. I don't know why. In some way, it is. You're trying to guess the words, and you can give a very tight clue. And the thing is, it's in German, but who cares?
Good.
The thing is, you have a card, and cool part about that is cooperative, and somebody has this card in front of them, and they need to say number from 1 to 5. They say number 4, and so they have to guess that word now. They don't know what it is. It's facing away from them, the card itself. Everybody else sees the word. There are a few rules about how you can hint regarding this word, but everybody secretly
it's clearly
writes,
chocolate.
Okay. Yeah. Everybody secretly writes down one word on their sheet or on their plastic thingy, and then you have to first, before you're giving these hints to that player who guesses the word, you have to compare your hints to other players. Because if both or like more than one player has hinted the same thing, then these are erased, and the player who guesses the word will get less hints. And sometimes it can lead to some confusions, because if you say that, like, for example, you have like here you have dark, let's say, and then you have milk and Belgian, but let's say other people also wrote milk and Belgian, and then milk and Belgian go away, and now you have just dark, and we're like, dark what?
Dark and sweet and white and hazelnut. But yes.
I mean, like, yeah, if they go out, like, because all the hints, they work in a kind of a combination, because now it's sweet, it's dark, it's okay. And yeah, and the cool part about that is sometimes I feel like, so will she write the simplest hint, or will she think that I'm gonna write that, and she will not write that, but still, maybe I will then write it down. And she thinks the same. And eventually
Yeah.
we both write that word. And we're like, oh, I really thought you will not go with that hint because it's so obvious that maybe you should have given me the opportunity to do that. And she thought, yeah, I had the same on my mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, a lot of fun. I have the
It
Estonian
is.
version because, as you
Oh,
said, not all people here are great at English. It might be a little bit
right.
harder for them to play this game. But I can always just grab whatever word cards, or I can use an app or something like that, and create or use alias or code names or whatever to just play this game. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter. So I can play
Yeah. You just need
like
a word.
because I have the Estonian version, but I played with another person and we played in Russian. We did it with the alias cards,
Hmm.
and they had Russian version of that, so it was the same. It doesn't really matter. So
Yeah.
it's
That's right.
like
I agree.
it's language dependent in a box, but really just pull
Yeah.
out the app that creates words, and that's it.
That's right. That's all you need is a word and something to write on, and a few people to play with. Yeah, it's a good game. I like just one a lot.
Yeah, one thing is that it plays very differently with three people. I wouldn't really recommend that because with three people, each one guesses the word, and two other people they have to write two
Two
words
words
each,
each. Hmm.
which makes it a bit more easy because you can write kind of a combination. You can kind of think about. I write sweet and milk. Okay, sweet milk. Uh, let's
Yeah,
say this is chocolate. I can. It's easier to hint on things.
yeah.
So it's better to play with more people.
I agree.
Your number four?
My number four. All right. So this is a game that I saw it talked about, and this game looks boring. I mean, I looked at this and I was like, I don't even. It looks like the most dry of dry Euro games. The
Mm-hmm.
game is Anno 1800,
Okay.
and on the box is a picture of a ship, which doesn't help. And then you look at the board, and it's just very, all these like various old technologies just kind of sitting out there on the board. And I got it, and I was like, I don't even know if I want to learn the rules to this. This just doesn't look any fun. But eventually, I suffered through it, and I read the rules, and I sat down, and Victor and I played it, and it was so much fun. Once we figured out what we were doing, this game's a lot. There's a lot going on in this game, but the rules are pretty simple, and they kind of all work together. But it
Yeah.
is really a very fun
Oh,
experience.
it is.
So what you're doing is you've got these cubes, and the cubes are different colors, and you're going to take them and place them on these technologies. And so you've got a hand of cards. You're trying to play those cards out. Each card has a different kind of a requirement. And so if you want to play the card, you're going to have to make the good by either taking a cube of your own and putting it out on, if you need a sausage, you have to put it out on the sausage factory. Or you can buy it from an opponent. It doesn't really cost you anything except a specific type of a token, and then the opponent gets a gold, and the gold can be worth points, but can be used to kind of clear off your board at points. Rules are actually pretty simple, but it's just a lot of fun to figure out how things work together. And every time you upgrade your cubes, you're going to get a new card, and it feels like you're supposed to be getting rid of those cards because that's going to be how the game ends. And so you
Yeah.
feel like, okay, well, great. I took 4 more cards into my hand that round. That wasn't what I intended. But I don't know, it's not too long. The interaction is fun because you're you kind of have to learn, all right, I don't have to buy everything myself. I just have to convince you to make all those coats. And then I'll buy them from you because everybody wants a
Yeah.
coat for some reason. I really liked this game a lot. And I remember we played it and then we were immediately ready to play it again. So this one is a big thumbs up for me.
Yeah. So I put it down there that I don't have any particular order in the game, so I thought let's just put it. It's also my number four because
So we did
my
have
numbers don't
a
matter
game
at
on the
all.
same.
But I've also played it. I also wanted to talk about that. I think it's better to talk about that in the same on the same
Yeah,
number.
it is, sure.
So I do really enjoy the game. Few caveats. First of all, it's a long game. especially the first time you play it, it's really long,
Yeah.
to be honest, because it has this cool puzzle of you look at the board and you say you want to have champagne as a product on your board.
Hmm.
How do you get to champagne? I have to build that. In order to build that, I need to build that, and you're looking for that kind of a chain of events you need to do in order to get. But it's all about resources. So you need this
Hmm.
resource in order to build that one, and then that one, and but you have to think from the highest priced thing to the lower one. Otherwise,
Right.
you'll struggle because you cannot just start doing something, building something up. And you might in the first game, but then you realize that okay, so in order for me to build that card, I need to get that particular resource because that card is great. So how do I get to that card? Let's
Yeah.
have a backtrack, to that thing. That's fun. That's the most fun.
Hmm.
Um, the thing is that you can kind of speed up the game because the game ends when all of your cards are uh, are done.
Yep.
So I don't know. Maybe it might be it might influence the end game for some people.
It can. The game can end abruptly because there are some cards that when you play them, they let you discard other cards, and that can be a part of the game, right? And
Which I
there's
did because at some point you're like, I'm not gonna get all of that. It's just so
right.
hard.
And you're
So
thinking, I
that's
need to end this. There, you get a 7 point bonus if you are the one who triggers the end game, and so you think, okay, am I able to play all of these cards that all want light bulbs and sewing machines uh, when I don't have those and no one else does either? And so, yeah, you can kind of force the end of the game if you want to. And one thing I liked is there are those 5 goal cards, and they can really change how you play. Like one time we
yeah.
played, and you wanted, everybody wanted cigars and and chocolate, and so that was sort of what people were going for. And then on another one, you wanted to have all of these sort of new world tiles, as many as you can, and have you'll get bonus points. And another one, you didn't want to have any of the expansion tiles, no more than one. And I was like, well, if I took because the space can be pretty tight. Uh, and I was
Yep.
thinking, well, if I take an expansion, I'll be giving you 20 points, but I could do so much more with it. So,
That's fun. So another thing I want to talk about, and you will not agree with me, but this trading mechanism and this resource management, why I liked Anno, and it just for me, it reminded me of homesteaders, at least in a sense of how the resources are managed and how they are traded.
okay.
But you're trading with the common market there. It's just how it is. I compare games on a in a different way because I compare games on the feel, and it gave me the
Hmm.
feel of homesteaders, which I do enjoy quite much. That's why I like
Hmm.
Anno. Uh, I didn't like the tiles which gave the exotic goods that only you can trade. Basically the tiles that have goods on them, and
Hmm.
you can
The new world tiles.
only you
Yeah.
can trade with them. And because the thing is that you might never get a particular good, and then you cannot do anything because you cannot have this trade from another player. That
Right.
means you are stuck with a card that you will never build, so you have to get the card which will let you get rid of your other cards, And I
Or use an
think
action to trade, right? Because you can trade that. You can put the cards back and take new ones.
what you can new ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
an
yeah,
action you
yeah,
can
yeah,
discard and
yeah,
take a
yeah,
new
yeah.
one.
True, true,
So,
true. Yeah, you can, but it feels usually like a waste of time. I would have loved. I think it's a flaw because I would have loved that I can trade anything with you, even if you get that special tile with exotic goods. But I had probably maybe I just have to pay quite a few trade tokens. I mean, like
yeah,
maybe it could be like extremely expensive plus some gold, whatever. I don't know, like something very expensive, but I can still do that if I really want to. I can get
right.
your sugar canes,
Hmm.
or cocoa beans, whatever it was. I don't know,
Right.
exotic goods. So I felt like that was a flaw
Yeah,
because
I mean, it can be frustrating because there was one turn where I needed the cocoa bean, one game, and I needed the cocoa beans to make the chocolate, but I never ended up getting to it. The I guess sort of the redemption though is there's some cards that just give you one of those whatever you need, right? So some of those cards that you can play will give you that. And also those cards, those sort of raw goods are never a prerequisite for one of your cards. It's always the prerequisite for a technology that you might need for one of your cards, but I don't know. It feels a little bit like, okay, well, I didn't get the I don't know,
I
there's
mean,
one that
like
looks like a roll of wool.
it's light because then you
Yeah,
just focus. Just it's a tactical game in a way. It's
it
a very
is.
strategic
Mhm.
game, but it has this kind of a tactic. Like, okay, I cannot focus on that. I will never get the cocoa bean. Okay, so let's just throw those cards away and focus something else. Yeah,
Do something
that's
else. Yep.
yeah. So yeah, it was
All
a
right.
mini review of the game, which I also do like because I like building in games, like physically building something up. And this one has in spades. This one in spades because you are constantly building something. So
Yeah.
great
Well,
game.
there you go.
Uh, then yeah, let's get to
Number
you
three.
again. Number three because
All right. I guess we
that's what it
shared
is.
that one. All right.
Yeah.
So my number three is kind of related to a game on your list. It is the newer version of Dinosaur Island, which is called Dinosaur World. So
World.
Dinosaur World is set in the same kind of thematic universe where you're building a dinosaur park, unlike any IP that you could even think of. And you in this game you do it differently, right? You are going to follow some of the sort of similar rules, but you get cards that will tell you how many workers you get for the round and which color. And each different worker has a specialty, except the white ones, which don't, they're just sort of generic bodies you can throw at things. Um, and then there's sort of a public actions phase where you can buy these kind of tiles to put into your park or buy dice with DNA on them. And then you're going to do a private actions phase where you're going to place your workers on your spots on your board to make dinosaurs or improve your jeep or improve your security or do other things. And then you're going to take your jeep, and that's kind of the interesting hook of the game is you're going to make a path and it's going to stop on a certain number of spaces, and then you get bonuses based upon what's in those spaces. So if there are dinosaurs there, you can get some excitement, and then the excitement is going to be what gives you your income for the next round. But unlike Dinosaur Island, the excitement goes away at the end of the round. So you've got to always think of new ways to keep people excited. And if people go to something, it gets a boredom token, which is an interesting component anyway, but it makes it a little bit less exciting. So, for example, the fun thing, thematically, there's this security station that you can go to that gives you some free security, but its excitement level is zero. Because nobody wants to go visit the security center. And then the next time you go there, people are like, come on, do we have to keep going to the security center? So your excitement is going to be negative. And that's kind of, a fun thematic thing. And then you can also place your workers during this Jeep movement phase if you save them. So you've got sort of one pool of workers, which I think is 12 that you get in a round. And then you've got to make them last through all the phases. And so there's some planning there. It's a little more structured than Dinosaur Island because you've got just 5 rounds, or you could play a 6th round if you want to. But I don't know. I like them both. I like them both a lot. They're both huge. They both take up a lot of space and kind of time and kind of
Mm-hmm.
cognitive space as well. But I don't know. I still think I like Dinosaur Island just a little bit more. Maybe that's because of the expansion. But I really like Dinosaur World as well. I think it's a great game and definitely worth your time. If, for example, you can't find Dinosaur Island, I don't know if it's still in print,
I
then
think
this
it
is a
is.
good one to go for.
Okay. Yeah. It seems like they realized that the artwork that he had previously, the colors are a little bit too controversial in a sense of love
The
or
colors are
hate.
not exactly the colors in Dinosaur Island were definitely somebody's intentional choice. You don't end up with that color on accident.
No, yeah, yeah, but
Uh,
I feel like they realized that let's go with just smooth,
regular colors.
more beautiful way of producing games. Anyway, yeah, yeah, sounds cool. Yeah, but I have my Dinosaur Island, so
Well,
don't need
then
that for
that's
now.
you don't. You can play Dinosaur Island and have a lot of fun with it. I still continue to do so.
All right, so my number three is another game that I bought recently in this during that sale period where I bought Mezzo and Dinosaur Island as well. I bought 3 games in total, or no, I think I bought something else as well. But I don't remember. Anyway,
Okay.
that's called the game is called Winterborn with E in the end at the end.
Okay.
So, I mean, probably have you heard about this game?
Nope.
Me too. I feel like I've seen this game. Maybe it was on Kickstarter. Probably, most likely,
Mm-hmm.
many games are. I haven't really heard about this game. It's like it just there was a box, and the back of the box said it's deck building, engine building, Euro style, Rundell game, and it's not a great looker. It looks fine. It
No.
in real life. I mean, once you have it on the table, it looks totally fine. The art is fine. The box is
Ooh,
boring.
the font. Look at that font. Wow.
Yeah, but the cars themselves, they look fine. They look okay, and I really like the resources. So the production is totally fine, but it's not the best. It's just I don't like the borders, but I think they are there for a purpose. Let's say they have a function.
Yeah.
So you have it's more a functional game, but you have some cards at the beginning of the game, and this is like a deck building, and you can use some cards to activate one of your 3 adventurers, whatever they are. I don't remember what they are.
Uh-huh.
The warrior, something, something, and each of them has their own specific kind of a function. Some of them can explore, some of them can conquer, some of them can do whatever. I don't remember exactly, but the cards are like multi-use. You can use the cards to activate that particular worker, and you can use cards to add movement to that worker. So with one card, I activate that worker. With another card, I move with that worker. And some of them have a third value, which is just grab a resource or something like that. Some of them might have
Mm-hmm.
something different, some a little bit different special abilities. So in this game, you are going in the, as you can see here, yeah, you can the multi-use
Oh,
cards.
this
Some of
looks
them,
terrible.
that's fine. It's fine in person.
Okay.
It's matter of taste. I don't find it. I
Sure.
find Castles of Burgundy a burp compared to this
Mm-hmm.
one. So that, like, my taste of art is just it should look nicer than some Euro games. Anyway, um, but let's talk about the game. Rundell. You go around. You cannot, you know, Rundell. That's how you go. You have to go in a circle, in a particular circle, and you're trying to build the houses on your player board and score for like kind of a majority or something like that. And you are basically also activating the different workers in order to do different stuff. With some, you can get those small cards, which are scoring opportunities. With some of them, you can get the bigger cards, which will go into your deck. It's like a light deck builder as well. They give
Mm-hmm.
you new opportunities, new symbols, some special abilities, maybe so on. And so you can also get those small tokens when you conquer something. They are like extra symbols that you can use once. For example, in order to activate a certain person, I don't have to use a card anymore. I do have that token. I can use the token instead, which is great because now I can use the cards for other things. Everything is cool, and then you collect those wooden tokens as well, which you can then use in order to they'll like are 4 seasons, and then comes the winter, and in winter you will be able to use your like special powers on your player board where you can use the tokens in order to do something really really cool. The whole package is totally fine. Everything works. It's not an amazing game as well. I bought it on sale with just no
Sure.
risk to my wallet, and I liked it. I mean,
Okay.
like it's that's the thing. I looked at this game I think probably I skipped it because it doesn't look great. It looks fine. It looks like a Euro game, but it just plays totally fine. It's interesting. I don't know why. Maybe
Mhm.
that combination of deck building and rundale, maybe that is interesting in this game. I just like that, and everything else is your usual style thing: build up and gets points, blah blah. So
Yeah. I might wait and see if this one's available with someone who already owns it before I play it, because this does not look great. And I don't know. I mean, I did play Anno and it didn't look great, and it was. But anyway, we'll see.
yeah, maybe I'll bring it with me on a cruise, so
I
I can.
mean, up to you. It doesn't look like it's a critical choice, but we'll
No, just to
see.
try it because it just
Okay.
flew under the radar, and it's the thing is it's not talked about at all, but I think it's a good game
Okay.
that should be considered to be fine,
Okay.
choice because I don't know, it's from Brian Sure who did okay, he did Merchants of the Dark Roads, Cold Water Crown, Paradox, Freshwater Fly. Oh, so
Okay.
he's a good designer. So
Okay. Well, there we go.
let's get to number two.
Number two. All right. Number
It's gonna be
two
a longer
came
video.
out of nowhere for me, right? Number two is I don't even know how to describe it. The game is called Bad Company.
Okay.
And looking at the box, it doesn't look all that great. But what this is it's sort of that same style of game as Machikoro or Space Base or that whichever of the Valeria games it is. You have a crew of various villains, and you're going to roll dice, and then you're going to so the person who's the boss for the round will roll the dice and make two pairs. So I don't know, a 4 and a 7. And the boss can activate his 4 and his 7, and then the other player can activate either the 4 or the 7. All the other players can do that. And you'll see on those cards that they give you a different symbol or two. And the symbols could be some coins, it could be moving your car along this track, or in most cases, it's like a lock or a mask, and that'll let you cover up a spot on one of your heist cards. And you're trying to complete these heist cards, which will give you most of your points. Pretty simple, right? Not a whole lot in terms of rules, but where the game, and as you see on the bottom of that picture there, you see that board. Really, the most fun part of this game is its artwork. I mean, look, the gameplay is fun too. We played it a lot of times in a row and have really enjoyed it. But as you eventually, there's an action you can do that lets you draw new cards and kind of improve one of your number spots. And the way that it does this is you sort of stack the card on top so that you can see the symbols that are below it, and it gives kind of the new head. All of the, for example, all the sevens have the same kind of outfit on. So you're going to get a new person, and these people are going to get comically tall as the game goes along, which is is kind of a fun thing. And the artwork's kind of weird and crazy, definitely quirky, but a huge part of the game. Anyway, I really liked this game. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the best. I mean, Space Base is pretty good, but Space Base is a little bit longer. And this game is very short and tight, and there's a lot of love that can be had in just 30 minutes. And it can be played. I've only played it at 2 so far, but I could see it playing very well at just about any player count because all of the actions are happening simultaneously. And so, additionally, based on the symbols of the cards you have finished, you can get a necklace. Whoever has the most gold bars, for example, gets the gold bar
Mm.
necklace, and that's a token that you put onto one of your people. You get a point for doing that, and then every time you activate them, you're going to get a point again. And then if somebody else ever passes you on that particular type of loot, then they take the necklace instead, which is kind of fun, but it's nice because the necklace kind of fits out there. And I don't know. A lot of love went into designing this. There's not a whole lot of extra rules. It feels like everything is going to make sense. And about the time you're ready for it to be done, it is. So I really have enjoyed Bad Company. It's not a bad game.
So yeah, I saw this one on. So Metagot has this kind of a pre-order system for Essen as
Yep.
well. and they can ship things as well. And they had kind of this deal: if you buy 60, something of 60 euros or more, they ship to you for free.
Okay.
I don't think it's anywhere in the world, but something like that. So in here it's good because usually orders of 60 plus are for local customers.
Hmm.
So I was looking at this one. It has this had the small discount as well, the Essen discount kind of thing. And then I realized that it's Machikoro like game. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, it it
Sure.
it it turned down it for me. So I'm just not into this style of game. That's why I've never tried Space Base.
Hmm. Well, yeah. If you don't like
I
that style of game, you
might
won't like
like
this
it.
game.
Yeah,
'Cause this is that style
I
of
didn't
game.
like the whole Machikoro thing. It was stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But I might
I
like
kind
it
of
now.
outgrew Machikoro, and I don't think I would really play it again. And the Valeria one, that's the same thing. I think I kind of outgrew that one, but this one and Space Base are definitely the best two in that kind of field. This one is if you want something shorter, and Space Base is if you want something a little bit longer and more involved. So,
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's Bad Company. Let's get to my
mhm.
number two, which is the. I think I already talked about this game, but maybe not. I don't remember when I got this game. Anyway, I
I don't
think I
either.
talked to you. I got a French copy because it was really hard to get,
Oh,
and I think I found some like not pay stubs, but basically like scans.
you mean
Uh,
you had me
s-
scan and send to you?
or you scan? Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's not the game you think about. It's a
Oh,
cooperative
okay.
game.
Oh, then it isn't
Cooperative
that
game.
game.
Yeah, it's up there.
Oh, okay.
So but I found some images that I could print out and
Sure.
because this game it's mostly language independent, but the special
Yeah.
abilities of the heroes are not written into rulebook, which means the other sides of those heroes have symbols. But you need to first read what it does in order to
Sure.
remember it and then use the symbology side.
Yep.
But mostly language dependent, just use the it's really easy. There are a few text things, but they are more like water, flood, flood times two. It's who cares.
Yeah.
You can look at the symbol itself. Now this is a
Mm-hmm.
cooperative game. You go into the cave, you must escape, and
Escape.
no, the thing is that it's almost something like that, but it's not real time. You start with somewhere, and then you are exploring the cave, pulling up those tiles, trying to find the exit of the cave. And there are different, like gold, silver, and bronze levels of achievement. Basically, if like two people die, it's bronze. If one person dies in the cave, then it's silver. And if nobody dies in the cave, then you are great and you won a gold medal. So, but yeah, the whole why I got this game is I do love this kind of exploration. Like I'm going that way, and I'm gonna pull out the tile and see what it does. And there are some gas and the ground, like at the crumbling, everything crumbling,
Yeah.
flooding, squeeze tiles, some tiles, the slides that you slide down and you cannot go up unless you put
Yep.
a rope there. But everything is through. Also, there is that skill check. There is also a lot of that luck involved with the die because sometimes you need to do skill checks and you get a check on 4, 5, 6.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you can get unlucky, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
So there's not much to talk about this game. Special abilities of the characters, they just boost something. Like if you have to use two of your actions in order to heal, the medic does only can do it with only one action. He can heal better. The
Mm-hmm.
climber can climb better. The scout can run better, and whatever. Just make it up. But the bodyguard is good to taking more damage. Whatever, usual stuff.
Sure.
But it's a huge puzzle. It's you need to puzzle your way out. It's not just go blindly and explore. You have to, because the time is running out. The deck of cards is your time. But at the same time, you need to be careful, and then you have to puzzle out how you deal with the horrors. There are those tokens which are horrors, which are chasing you. They're not fast, but the thing is that if you are on the same tower with the horror, you are dead. You can revive people. Look, you can revive people unless it's the out of time card, the basically like a last card that you pull out. Then you're out of time. Then if you're dead, you're dead. But in this one, yeah, you can still revive other people and you can save everybody. And it's not like if somebody is out of game for a moment that they cannot come back. It's great.
Sure.
I looked at few expansions. They are not available. This game is very hard to get, and no expansions available right now. They had a kind of a new Kickstarter for a new version of that Subterra 2,
the Magma one or something.
Temple, like Aztec with lava.
Subterra 2. That's what I mean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I went there and they had late pledge. They are behind their schedule. I mean, like it's nowhere near ready or shipping, anything like that. But I was like, okay, if I will not late pledge it right now, it might be difficult to find this game later. So I was like, I really like Subterra, and I liked how the second version of the game sounded. It was a little bit more broad, a little bit more complicated. I was like, okay, so instead of just seeking out the expansions for Subterra, which I can just, if I need a simpler version of that, I'll just pull out Subterra and let's play it, not many rules. And if I will need to have a more complex experience, I will pull out Subterra 2, and I backed it with a few expansions in there.
There you go.
So, just to be sure. Anyway, very cool game. I like it a ton. It just, the whole exploration, that's what gets me. I just love it in games where you can go somewhere, you don't know what's in front of you, and then you flip it, and then whoa, something good or bad,
Yeah, I kind of found this one to be mediocre. I don't know. I could see what was there, but it kind of felt a little bit too random for me. And the times that I've won or lost, it kind of felt like I don't know that I had all that much that it influenced it. I would try it again, and I have its expansions actually. Because, of course, I always buy things sight unseen. But I'd try it again. I'd give it another chance, but I wasn't a huge fan of it.
Yeah, that was great for me.
Good.
All right. We are almost 2 hours. Let's speed it up.
Last two. One left.
Yeah.
All right, my number one is a game that it was from the same publishers who did Vindication, and it was their second sort of big game, and it just arrived a couple of weeks ago. It has a beastly rule book with tiny print, really long, but once you learn the game is called Unsettled. So in Unsettled, you are a team of scientists on a planet, and there are, I think, 6 different planets that you can play with. But basically, the game is kind of a mod. Like it's sort of the box is kind of the pieces, and then the planets are different modules you'll be playing with. So sort of the first planet that's recommended is this sticky fungal planet, and you're moving through trying to explore it. You're looking for food in that game, and so each one there's a different thing you're looking for, different tasks you're trying to accomplish. It's cooperative. You're going to work with at least one other player, and then also a robot companion who helps everybody out and is very useful and has special actions and is an integral part of the game. And you're kind of going to go through, you don't really know all that you're trying to accomplish the first time you play. It's as you do certain steps, eventually you're going to be given a new task, and you have to complete a certain number of tasks and usually make it back to your spaceship in order to survive. So the way that it works is you've got 3 focus cubes that look a lot like dice, and occasionally you roll them, but very rarely. And it's going to have pips on it. So it's going to have a 3 pip, 2 pip, 1 pip, and then a time marker, which is a 0. And every time you use it, normally it's going to spin down and get worse, but then there's a couple actions that will make it spin up. On your turn, you've got 3 of them. You've got to place 2 of them and do actions, and then you've got to do 1 to rest, which is just to waste time. And and that's required, unfortunately, but that's sort of how the game progresses, because there's not combat in this game. Instead, you're eventually going to wear out and just die, because every time you spend a time, you're going to move down this very short time track, and when you loop around, everybody's going to move their endurance down. When somebody gets to the bottom of your endurance track, everybody dies, you lose the game. And it seems like, that's really all that there is to it, but there's so much more. First of all, the writing in this game is fantastic. The humor is really fun. There's a lot of kind of almost sarcastically written descriptions of the planets. There's a lot of fun in there. The different tasks you're doing all feel different. We have played from sort of that base first planet box. We played all 3. They all felt really different. And then we have played at least one. Victor and I have played at least one from all 6 of the planets, and some of them are vastly different. There's one planet that's like a floating alien head, and it's full of monsters that are going to chase you. There's one that's like this series of meteors, and you're trying to manipulate them and move them around to make a path for you even to get across. There's a desert planet with a storm that's blowing, and you're trying to avoid it or be in it at different times. There's a water one that's a living planet, and it gives you tasks you have to do. And then there's another one that's kind of like the planet Krypton, where there's all these crystals that are kind of alive, and you're trying to align them in different ways. I really like the game. I found it so engaging. The rules are not hard. They're hard to read, but once you've sort of gotten through them and figured out how everything works, it's a really easy game to set up, teach, and play. It doesn't take too long, but you're always engaged. Everyone has special sort of side actions you can use on anybody's turn. And so it's really cooperative as you're trying to say, okay, you can do this and I can do this. How are we going to make that be able to work so that we can get to do this task, which requires us to run in opposite directions or to, move things around. It's just, there's a lot to love in Unsettled. I really like this game. I would love to see, 10 more of these planet boxes come out, but even as it is, just with the 6, that's 18 different scenarios, and you can replay them, right? You might remember that on this one you were trying to do something, but the way that it's going to come out, the order of the cards, and the sort of the way that you're going to interact with the puzzle makes it so that you can replay it if you'd like to. But I really have liked it a lot, and I would love to play it some more. And so it's definitely a huge hit for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I played Vindication the first time.
It's nothing like Vindication.
Yeah, I know. I understand. I played Vindication. I was like, okay, that's fine. That's fun. And then I played it the second time, and it wasn't fun anymore. So the thing is I'm not comparing this one to Vindication, but it's from the same creators as Vindication. And I'm now more cautious about, because I realized one thing about not this game, but Vindication, is that, and this one sounds a bit like that, it has quite a few moving parts, quite a few, many rules, and it's not as fulfilling. The balance between an amount of rules versus the actual gameplay and how much you can do, how much you do in the game, is not in balance for me in Vindication. And this one just sounds a tiny bit the same. I watched this, not from your description. I watched this a partial play of Dice Tower, and they explained the game. So I watched the explanation of the game, and it sounds cool. I like how it sounds, but I'm cautious. I'm cautious because it feels like they try to overcomplicate something that should be simplified instead. It feels something like that. Maybe I am totally wrong, and I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna say amazing, and maybe it will be the same as with Vindication. I say amazing the first time, and then I say boring the second time. And it's rare case where I like the game the first time and then don't like the second. It's weird. That's not how you progress with liking the game,
Yeah.
So
I mean, look, it's an expensive game too, and it's kind of hard to find, at least currently. I mean, I'm sure it'll be available eventually, but it's definitely one you might want to try though if you were at a place where it was, because I found it really fascinating, and we played it a whole lot. I mean, on the first day when we got it out, we played it 3 times in a row, and then we played it pretty much every day for the next week. So
yeah,
we really played it a lot, and I have not found that it ever gets to be not enjoyable.
I think I'll give it a go and see if I like it. Last time,
Sure,
so but I don't think I will buy it
especially
for
if it doesn't
myself.
cost anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True that. All right. So the final game we're going to talk about is the other one that I had bought in French because
Oh,
it's
that one.
also
Okay.
hard to get, and that's where you helped me with the scanned special abilities. And this one is even more basically language independent, with
Oh yeah.
just few cards having a
Five
little
cards.
text. It was it five? Okay, five cards
Yeah.
having a little bit of text. If there will be expansions, there might be some more cards with text, but maybe I will then switch it to English version when it will be widely available. It's hard. I Arcane Wanderers is not the company I would trust on having stuff on time or in a great
Oh
distribution.
no.
They're terrible
They're
at
always late
distribution.
and terrible distribution, but they make good games. So, and they're nice people.
They choose good games, yeah, because this is a Russian game. It's called Furnace,
Hmm.
and quite a few Russian games have been. It's from Hobby World, but quite a few Russian games have started to get to that wider international market, which is great. They have some good designers there. And Furnace is extremely simple. So when I looked at this game, it's like, ooh, sounds great. I will love it. And I really enjoyed my play of it.
It's fun.
Uh, it's just pure fun. Yeah, very few rules. Easy to get into. You have the upper part of the card, which basically says you get that many resources times something. I'm going to talk about in a moment. And then the down part of the card is a production phase ability, basically, where you can exchange one resource for another one. You're trying to get a ton of money.
Hmm.
You're trying to get your engine going, and you are bidding on those cards with your tokens of numbers 4, 3, 2, 1. And
Hmm.
if you are the highest number on the card, you get that card.
Yep.
Everybody else who hasn't, and you cannot have the same numbers on the card nor same colors. Everybody else gets the resources in the upper part of the card before you grab it for yourself.
Hmm.
Times the token that you bid there. If you bid a 3 and it gives you 2 metal, 2 times 3, you get 6 metal. So at some point, you're trying to get more resources, but you might end up with a card instead that you didn't really want because nobody went there with number 4 and you really wanted
Hmm.
somebody to grab the card and you could just get more resources. That's fun. And the whole process, it's just putting the cards in front of you and make them work very tightly. Like this
Yep.
card produces you this one, which I can use here in that card to exchange it, and then this card to do this and use my special ability. And I had the special ability of I can use used card. You can use each card once, and I had the special ability that I can reuse one of the cards, and it helped me out a ton. My strategy was focused around one particular card where every other card was producing stuff for that card, so I could
Sure.
get a bunch of points in and then use it again and get more points.
Yep.
It's a simple fun. I'm looking forward to whatever extra they can give to that game because it's very simple. But
Yeah, it is.
so far, it's still fun. It's a ton of
Yeah.
fun. Somebody said, I think Tom Basil said that it reminds him of Splendor.
Yeah. I don't know if that's who said
I
it, but
or maybe I'm wrong about maybe I was thinking about some other game, but maybe I don't know. It might be. No, it's
Okay.
maybe it was some other game. I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, Furnace, just a great streamlined engine building game.
Yes, it is. I like
Love it.
this one. It's good.
Yeah.
It does not shine at 2. It's okay with 2, but with 3 and 4, it's a little bit better, in my opinion.
I played with 4, so
Okay.
it was a ton of fun. With 2, I read the rules about you need to can roll a die and see
Yeah.
where
It
the
just blocks
dummy
the
player
space.
goes.
It's a spoiler spot. And I don't
Yeah.
always enjoy that. It works, right? It works. It's functional. It's fun, but it's definitely better with 3 or 4.
All right, so but that's it for today's topic.
That is.
A longish episode this time, but we had
No, not ish. It's just long.
it's long. Yeah, okay, yeah. We'll try to get to 1.5 hours, but we had so many great games to talk about,
That's
recent
true.
plays, so it's always like that. So, but we'll get to our usual topic at some point. I mean, like
Okay.
where we have just one recent play and then a top 10 or something like that.
Very well.
That was fun.
That was.
So thank you for watching, and we see you soon somewhere
All right,
over the
sounds good.
rainbow. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
You have something to tell me? All right.
you
I'll
wait. You
talk to
are
you later.
you are wearing a hat numbered 13. So just
Yeah, because it's the 13th.
yeah. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.